right, you guys, podcast time.
Chew. It's quieter.
Fucking podcasting right now.
Chew quieter.
And now, to the podcast studio.
Welcome back to Chew Quieter. And under unfortunate circumstances, this is our first time meeting Randy Morris from Morris Mountain. Randy, I'm sorry we have to meet on this topic, but right now there's a state bill in Alabama, State Bill 254, that is really threatening the off-road park industry. And I thought I first heard about it from my buddy Dallas. I haven't really been on social media much in the past few weeks, and he's like, "Hey, have you heard about this?" I'm like, "No." And send me some information. So he sends me a link to the bill that's being proposed, and I was like, "Hold on a minute, this just doesn't seem right." So he says, "Hey, I can get you I can connect you with some people. Maybe if you talk about it on your podcast, more people will hear about this also." So he gave me your information, and thank you, Dallas, for that. Randy, go ahead and give us a little bit of background on your park.
So our park was started in 2005, and we really started out as just a smaller place where locals could come and wheel, because we really had no place to go after like national forest land that was real close to us closed down. So we had some land in the family that we decided to invite people and use, and it's kind of grown from there. I mean, it's been we've had really good feedback from everyone in our area so far, and we're just keeping it going. As long as anyone's still coming, we're letting them come. So we've grown about, I don't know, probably, as far as trail size, probably about 10% per year. So we've got about 1,300 acres right now that we've got open for people to come and ride on. And, we're just hoping to keep adding more and, have people keep coming and enjoying the property.
Perfect. So the bill that has been proposed, well, let me first say this. I don't know if you've heard our podcast before, but we're not afraid to bring up tough situations or call people out.
Right.
The bill that's being proposed is by Senator Andrew Jones, as a Republican out of Alabama, the 10th district. I invited him on also so we can have a discussion about this, and I have not heard back from them. It's been quite a few days now. So
Right.
just full disclosure, this was not an attempt to just be a one-sided podcast. We did try to invite him on, but they neglected to reply. I do know that my message was received. So at this point, this is on the senator for not being here. Yeah. The state bill basically is saying, and let me pull this up so people can also see this, because this is a big deal to not only your park, but the entire state of Alabama that has parks, right?
That's right. Yeah, it affects everyone. From the more Jeep and off-road buggy / razor parks, all the way down to like parks for like mud bogs, ATVs, everything. So the only thing that I don't think that it does affect, of course, are the county and municipally owned parks. That's mainly for private owned, and we look at it as
the synopsis of this bill. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, we look at it as kind of like a vendetta bill against just certain parks, in his area, and then we're all going to have to end up dealing with it, unfortunately. So
yeah, as we get into this, I think people will see that also. So the synopsis of this bill is: this bill would require the operator of an ATV park to obtain a permit from the county. The bill would provide for the permitting and inspection of ATV parks. And it also says this bill would provide fines for violations. it just seems to me that this is an overreach, a huge overreach. And we talked about it off air before, but I asked you, was this targeted, and is this more of a Karen complaining to someone that has political muscle?
Yeah, we believe it's exactly that. Like I was saying before, as far as our county and other park owners that I've talked to in other counties besides this one, really nobody has had any problems. I mean, as far as maybe a neighbor here and there or something complain, but it's always been worked out, and it's never went to this level or even close before. So that, that's exactly what we believe this is. It's just it's targeted toward the, a singular park, but it's going to affect all of us.
Do you have any idea how many complaints have been logged against the park that is actually, I don't want to say named in this whole thing, but it's Indian Mountain Park, is that right?
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have any idea how many complaints have been logged against them?
I don't. I really don't. I don't have that info. As far as I know, it's not. It's very concentrated just to a couple of people that were maybe bordering the park. So I don't. It's not like a countywide, referendum on that park itself. I think it's just these few, a few loud voices that have connections.
So is it new neighbors or something that are causing this? Is there development around the park or the parks that are being targeted that are kind of the basis of this?
I don't think it's so much new neighbors. I think, the park is only a few years old, as I understand. So maybe they have been, the neighbors were there already. And then you have this park coming in and it kind of upset what they think that their status quo should have been. And I think then they started complaining that way. So
it's really unfortunate.
It is.
It reminds me a lot of in Colorado. There's a speedway called Bandimere. It's a quarter-mile track that NHRA used to race at. They used to have grudge matches there. They used to invite the sheriff, police, everyone there to have these races, and they started building developments, housing around this track, and this family has had a lease for that land for 50 plus years, and they were forced this year to shut down because of so many complaints about the noise. And it's not exactly the same thing, obviously, but it just has that same tone to it to me.
Right. Yeah. I think I watched something not too long ago about even Laguna Seca was going through some problems there with like noise and everything with the neighbors. And gosh, that track's world famous, so it's crazy.
Right. Yeah. You build houses next to a racetrack and they complain about the racetrack.
Right.
We had that recently here, Motorsports Park here in Arizona that shut down because they want to build new houses and it's too loud and too much traffic for the new houses. So they closed them out, eminent domain the property, and kicked them out.
Yeah, it's kind of a lame brain thing for these people to just complain about something that's already been there. It just doesn't make sense to me. And you brought up that this might be an issue where someone lost their hunting lease that was on that land.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. That they had used that property before, that it was an off-road park, and then they weren't able to access it anymore because, of course, it's being used as a business, and so they weren't happy about that, and they're gonna cause a stink because of it, I suppose.
Yeah. Have you looked into what this might actually cost you if you do have to get this liability insurance?
We can't find anyone that would even try to cover us. So we haven't even been able to talk costs because you can't even get coverage. And I think that was one part of you know, them putting that in this bill is because, you know, it's that's probably a death sentence in itself. I mean, but who's, if I'm an insurance company and I'm okay, I can write a policy for your land because I know what you're doing, but this bill is we have to cover all the surrounding land, um, all of the waterways that are tied into other, you know, other land, the county commission itself, and a couple other things. And I mean, so what insurance company would even think of doing that? You know, I mean, how can they be responsible for what we're doing and we're getting a policy on somebody else's land that's, you know, adjoining us? It's ridiculous.
One thing that I want to kind of bring up also is this seems like it's almost unprecedented that a politician would take these steps to put these regulations in place on privately owned parks. Do you know of any other states that have this sort of requirement on private owned parks?
I don't. I've looked into it and I can't find one.
Wow.
It's like breaking new ground here with it. It's crazy.
And you said yesterday you went to the state capitol to kind of lobby for the off-road parks. What
That's right.
any updates on that?
Yeah, we went. The bill was scheduled to be voted on since it got out of committee yesterday. So several park owners, industry people from the state, such as off-road shops and side by side, you know, like, you know, dealers and all, you know, a lot of people like that, and just concerned people that are into off-roading gathered there yesterday, you know, to kind of put more awareness toward the cause, you know, to stop this bill. And I guess when they saw that, you know, we were there, you know, we showed up, and we, you know, we had a good bit of support from, you know, the other senators, and they saw that it wasn't going to didn't have a good chance to pass, so they pulled it back into committee, and that's where it is right now. And I think they're adding some amendments to it to try to help pass it. So I think the next time it will be pulled back up to vote in the Senate would be this coming Tuesday, and we'll be back again. So,
Well, hopefully that thing gets voted down, because it just seems too ridiculous that one person is causing a stink or two people are causing a stink. It's not
that's right.
multiple people in multiple counties or around multiple different parks within the state. It seems like it's just, like you said, it's a targeted effect, or a targeted attempt, and it's causing a ripple effect.
It is. And, you know, you look at as far as what they're planning for, you know, the first thing is that they ask you on these bills is, you know, what's the economic impact going to be on the state? And when you look at what the bill would bring in is a $50, I believe, you know, a $50 licensing fee, and there's less than 20 private parks in the whole state. So, and some of those are very small. I mean, we're talking about like mud parks that are basically a field, some of these. And when you look at what they're planning on bringing in versus, you know, the economic loss that all these areas are going to be, you know, experiencing, it's way off base to even think, you know, that this is going to help anything. It's so far away from logical to me. I don't even know where they're coming from. So, you know, like we're saying, that's the only other way you can look at it is it's just a personal vendetta. I mean, so even if, you know, all these proposed fines say we have to pay all these proposed fines to Department of Interior Management, we have to get probably twice a year inspected by the state. Our land is now treated like a watershed, which, you know, is even more control for the state over the land at that point. And there's fines for $5,000 for this and that, you know, on up to every day that you don't get it fixed. Okay, so if they're even looking into bringing in revenue that way, well, how long do you think any of these parks are going to last if you're finding this $5,000 a day? I mean, we're all going to have to shut down. So there's the end of that revenue stream, and then you've lost all the economic, the positive economic impact that all these parks have brought, to the state, all the local businesses, the side-by-side retailers, the off-road shops for your Jeeps and your buggies. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. It makes no sense whatsoever.
Have there been any studies done as far as the watershed with anything at all saying, these ATVs are causing X to happen 10, 20, 30 miles downstream?
No.
Do you know of any water studies?
No, they didn't bring up any. I think the most that they had there during the reading of the bill was a few people, my understanding, that said that their cows had to drink muddy water or something like that. So there was no actual studies done to back this up. I mean, they were literally pushing it through so quickly, so there wouldn't be, all the opposition, before the opposition had time to come and, put anything forward to, counteract what they're saying. So, and that's how it got passed through committee so quickly.
And this goes back to what you're saying. This seems very targeted.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that happens every day, I guess, in the world of politics or something like that. But I mean, it's something that, we're not used to. But I mean, I'm used to dealing with these type of things through another business I have. I mean, as far as having to go and lobby for things. But, we've never had it on this side. I mean, it's like you expect it. Another business of mine is firearm manufacturing. So I have to deal with government entities all the time. And this was the one business that I had that I was like, okay, this is great. Everyone likes us here. And then this comes about, here we are. Here I am doing, doing this with the ORV park like I am in my other business. So, but
yeah,
that's how it goes sometimes.
One thing that kind of just crossed my mind is I wonder how much of this is an attempt also to start the process of land seizure. If their idea is, hey, we know these guys can't pay these fines, so this idea is let's fine them as much as we can, and then if they can't afford it or if they can't make those pay those fines, we can take their land. Has that crossed anyone else's mind?
I mean, I would think so. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a step toward that. I think, any type of new government legislation that they can put their thumb on you a little bit more. I mean, it's just all inching toward, it's inching towards something like that. Yeah, sure. I could see, where you could put it that way.
All seems very fishy.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's all very fishy.
Right.
But the government's looking out for you, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
They're here to help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Help what we don't know.
Yeah, that's right.
They're helping their own pockets.
Right. Yeah, but
has there been any sort of compromise from the parks or off-road shops to educate the riders more, saying, hey, you can't do this sort of off-roading while you're, having fun. You can't be boozing up while you're driving around. You can't just tear through this person's land knowing that it's not the park. Or has there been any sort of talk about, because I do know that that's one of the problems that Moab is facing.
Right.
Is people are taking their side-by-sides out there, and a lot of these people are brand new to the sport, and there's a lot of naivete about it, and it's kind of putting a black eye on the people that are actually doing it right and having fun doing it right.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
so
I'm sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
I was just going to say, so if there's any sort of initiative from the parks to have these
Mhm.
courses, or even from the retailers selling the ATVs or the shops that are building them.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we're all the time looking to, kind of educate, the people that come here, and I know a lot of the other parks are as well. I spoke with the people from Indian Mountain. I mean, they're good people and they try, their best to, uh, you know, keep everything, keep everybody within, the rule set that each park has. I mean, I don't know of any park in the state that allows alcohol on the trails. Are you going to, is everything going to make, are you going to catch every little bit of it? No. But I mean, most people that come here, they respect the rules. I mean, they don't, we don't cause any problem. And I think that's a good reason why, we haven't had problems like this up to this point, is because most of the people, are pretty good at self-policing. You have to do, you have to do something every once in a while to keep, people in line and not let it get too crazy. But, um, that kind of comes with the territory. But yeah, we all, we offer training courses here. We offer guided rides for people that are just now getting into this, into the sport. And we try to teach how, this is how you can, tread lightly, so to speak, and not, if you have say a radiator spill or something like that, this is how to clean the area, and this is how to, but everybody has been pretty good so far about it. And I think that's why a lot of these allegations against, the park up there are pretty overblown. So, I know I've talked to them, and they have went above and beyond. Talking to them and people that have come to that park, they have went above and beyond to, comply with like all of their local statutes, and to keep everybody happy. But as you well know, you can't keep everybody happy all the time. So,
Yeah. Yep. Very
but
good point.
yeah, I mean, it's, I don't know, going back like to the Moab thing. I mean, I can see to where that being, public land, there's probably, I mean, which I don't know, I've never been, but you guys probably have. You could tell me, but I mean, I don't know if they have a lot of policing up there and everything. I would love to go, but hearing you guys talk about how expensive it's gotten the other day, I don't know if I could afford it, but but I mean,
Yeah,
do they have,
definitely time to go, like not during EJS.
right? Yeah. Yeah. You said it was cold, right?
Well, it was cold, but that's when it's the most expensive, though.
Yeah.
That's kind of
Oh, yeah.
everything.
Yeah, I can imagine. But, and so do they have people there actually policing like the area, or, like Forest Service or something like that? Because, I know at like bigger rides and during weekends and everything, we have people that actively, kind of patrol the park and make sure everyone's doing okay, make sure they're not stepping out of bounds and doing this and that, and staying on all the trails that we have are GPS located, so to stay on those. I mean, so we do as much as we can to keep off of. I mean, I think people around here have more problems with their cows getting out of their pasture on other people's land than we do with people like running up in someone's yard with a buggy or something. So, but
Yeah, it's a little different. You have to imagine that in Moab there's thousands and thousands of miles of trail that go
oh yeah,
across and through different cities and different areas across everything. So patrolling would be a nightmare out there. But occasionally you go out there and you'll see a ranger out there. But the idea is self-policing in Moab, and that's kind of
right.
what's worked for the longest time.
Mhm.
For the jeeping community, and the jeeping community has kind of stayed and kind of stays close knit, so they're always training, always you get in someone that's dumping trash, you're like, hey dude, you gotta get trash, come on, No one goes on a trail ride and allows someone to make a mess of the trail. It just doesn't happen with the Jeep community. We see the side by sides that come out, and these guys swipe a credit card and buy this $100,000 toy, and go out there, and there's no longevity or people that are actually there to train and to teach them how to act the right way, how to make sure that the trails are open for more years to come. So I think that's where we get a lot of the issues coming from, the side by sides, and why people have the hate for the side by side. We don't have the what I call the grandfathers coming now and making sure that we're all knowing what we're supposed to be doing, protocols, etiquette, and stuff like that. So there's a lot of that.
We're developing the legacy right now. There hasn't been a legacy for that, as you said, to the grandfathers or the parents of that community to step in for I don't want to call them children, but that's a tongue-in-cheek children.
But that's exactly what has to happen. You have to be taught how to do the right thing to know how to do the right thing. Otherwise, you just do what you want to do. And it's the same with raising your children. A little bit of discipline, a little bit of direction, and continue to teach them and put them in the right direction. And that's how they're going to grow. So side by sides being so young and so new to people, and easy to get. It's so easy to look and say, oh, I could store that inside of my house. I don't need another garage. I don't need a trailer that's that big. I can kind of make it work anywhere. Mm-hmm. So that changes the dynamic of what the vehicle does and what the people can do with them. So it's really hard to compare places out here that are completely open to kind of a park where you're on a public, you're going from a public area to a private area.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's the main.
We've seen land closures before out west. Sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think that is the main difference between the two types. I mean, is you've got, we never had that in the Southeast as far as all these big tracts of land that, the public could use. And that's why these, the private parks have flourished here. Was the one the closest to me was Tellico, and they shut that down now. How long ago has it been? Over 15 years ago or more?
What's the next closest park to you?
That'd be Choccolocco Mountain.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in Jacksonville.
So you're actually not too far from where I am in Tennessee, then.
No, we're not too far. We are probably about halfway between Birmingham and Atlanta on I-20. So it's a pretty good location for us. We get a lot of people from Georgia. We get people from all over. Just this coming week, I know we have a group coming from Oklahoma. So, people come from all over the country.
Well, I'm going to have to stop in one of these days and see if I can talk some of my friends to going out that way. Because I sold my Jeep a couple of years back when I was buying a house. So funny thing is, I actually thought about buying an ATV or side by side because I'm like, well, that would be a lot cheaper to off-road than buying a brand new Jeep, putting in new axles, putting in new tires, putting on new wheels, putting all this stuff that I had on my previous Jeep. I could just do that with a side-by-side. It would be so much easier.
Right. It is. It makes it easy. That's when we first started this, it was all either just custom built, rock buggies or Jeeps. And now probably 50% of the business is side-by-sides. And, we're not just an only side-by-side park like a lot of these other ones are. But they're so ubiquitous now, where everyone can go up and to the dealership and go say, hey, I want, this, and you can finance it. You can get insurance on it. And it makes it more accessible for everybody.
Yeah, it's easy.
One thing I just one thing I just noticed is this bill specifically says ATV.
Mhm.
Do you know why it's only the ATVs being targeted? Is it just that the Jeeps are they lumping Jeeps into that, or is it maybe that that's those two parks that we're talking about maybe being targeted are specific to ATV?
They're just side by side parks and ATV parks. It's which there's different rules with different parks throughout the state, but like ours would be we allow like Jeeps or Jeeps, buggies, roll cage, as long as basically you have a cage or roof or seat belts. So that means we don't offer like ATVs like four wheelers or dirt bikes, things like that. Some of the parks are the exact opposite, where they'll allow bikes, ATVs, side by sides, no Jeeps or buggies. So
living in Tennessee now for 4 years, and one thing I know that's absolutely fucking clear as day is Southerners don't like to be told what they can and can't do.
amen.
And this seems like something that you are being told what you can and cannot do. And since I've adopted the Southern lifestyle since living here, I love it here. I'm gonna help fight this issue from Tennessee, even though it's not a Tennessee issue, but it can potentially be one if this lingers.
Yeah,
I
would see that.
Yeah, so I think that's why there's a big outcry from people outside of Alabama also.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because I mean, if you see like like you're saying, the care and see it's done in one place, right? They're going to push forward somewhere else. I mean, that's it's going to happen. I mean, we already heard them during the reading of the bill in committee. If you go back and watch that video, they're already citing instances in Georgia where some of these places were shut down because of this and that, and say, well, it worked for them. Why can't, we do it here? So, I mean, and it's incremental stepping stone. So I think, eventually if we keep letting this stuff happen, then, I mean, it's going to be like that everywhere. I mean, it's just like any rights that get encroached upon. I mean, it starts out a little, and then before you know it, you turn around and, all of it's gone.
Yeah. I just find it fascinating also that Andrew Jones is a Republican, and he's the one that's
right.
The major person pushing this bill. Someone that should be for less government is trying to bring in more government. It's to me, it's just crazy.
Right. Well, that's an That's an affiliation beside a name here, right? I mean, in his district, he can't put anything but that in front of his name, whether he's going to act like he is or is not. He knows he's not going to get elected unless he's has that R, in front of his name. So
he's a rhino.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's definitely not acting like a a constitutionalist at all. I would say the exact opposite.
Yeah. So that district entails Etowah, Cherokee, and Southern DeKalb County, right?
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So folks down there, if you're listening to this podcast, keep that in mind next voting round.
Please
just
do.
pay attention to who you're voting for.
Yeah, I'm not even sure if I think it would have to be in the primaries, because I think he ran unopposed in the general.
Oh, good grief.
Yeah.
Well, listen,
they just threw their hat in. They were like, "Nah, we're done." Before it even started.
I'm going to follow up with you next week when you said it was next week that they're going to be meeting again, right?
Yeah,
the
it'll be
committee?
this coming Tuesday, and if anyone wants to come down there and meet us, then please, get with us through our Facebook. I mean, we'll have us, Indian Mountain, and some of the other parks will have the time and place on our Facebook, and we'll link that to, or you can contact us through our email, and we can give you more info there.
Cool. I did try to contact Indian Mountain to see if they would join us also, but I'm sure since they're being targeted, almost specifically in this, I'm sure they've got much better things to do right now. So,
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
wish them. I wish them luck. I wish you luck. Everyone else that's involved with this, I wish them luck. Just keep fighting the good fight.
Thank you guys, man. I really appreciate it. You inviting us on your platform and letting us kind of tell of our story or our predicament here. And I mean, guys like you just help spread the word. I really appreciate it, and we'll spread the word about you guys.
Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
we definitely want to make sure that that all of our recreational facilities are staying intact. That's a big thing for a lot of the industry people, as well as the wheelers and everyone who sits behind us. It's a big thing. It's on us right now. We're fighting for our little paradise, if it may, whatever it may be a mud hole, but it's our paradise. It's where we go to unwind.
Right.
It's where we go to relax. It's where we go to be with our people that are similar to us and most like us. So we all have to be here to fight for this, or otherwise they'll start taking it all.
Yep.
That's right.
Yeah, we've already seen land
agree
closures
100%.
out west. We're seeing Moab being threatened with more trails being closed. Colorado is being threatened right now with some trail closures. I don't know how it is in Arizona, Armando. Are you guys under any threats?
Nothing major yet, but you see a difference. We've talked about the range deputies out here that are going out the side by sides, so they're all getting side by sides to combat the influx of side by sides out here that are just tearing up the trails and the mountains and making their own trails. There's a lot of dangerous situations that are out there, so the range deputies are out there on patrol in side by sides, very well equipped side by sides that'll chase you down and run you down quickly.
Right.
So the idea for them is, we don't want to stop you from coming out here and playing. We want you to learn how to play the right way. And you'll get a ticket, and if they continue to ticket you, they'll start taking away vehicles, and I see that happening for the people that don't learn their lesson. You'll get 3 strikes on learning your lesson, and they'll start just taking things away, just get towed.
Yeah, that's true. And I think you guys, you brought up a good point earlier about, like, all these new, the influx of new people to the sport. It is kind of on people that have been doing this a while to help kind of educate them how to act on the so it won't be coming back on everybody, right? I mean, just like they say, like, every group of people, there's always a percentage of people that it's gonna ruin it for everybody else. I mean, some groups higher than others, of course,
Yeah.
but I mean, that's
and some people have to learn to, you see something bad, you correct it.
Yeah, that's right.
And not feel bad about it. I mean, it's going to help us all in the long run if we're correcting poor situations.
Even a puppy gets a whap on the nose with the newspaper. So
That's right.
Yeah. Get a beat from the collar, one of the two.
All right. Well, I don't want to take up any more of your time, Randy. I know you're busy out there. So again, I appreciate you coming on. We're going to keep spreading the word to, if that petition is still out there, we're going to ask people to sign it and just get it more and more signatures. And hopefully the volume of people will speak volumes to the Senate.
Yeah. So if you search Alabama Senate Bill 254, it comes up with all the links and stuff for it's being shared all over the place right now. I see so many different shares on it. So you can easily find it just a quick Google search of Alabama Senate Bill 254.
Awesome. Anything else you want to say before we go, Randy?
No, I think I pretty much well covered it.
Awesome.
I will say, if we do get this defeated this session, that does not mean this is over, right? I mean, these guys can, just like other gun bills, that they just recycle and they throw to the next session every time that they join. They might keep putting this up every time until they can finally get enough traction to get something passed. So this doesn't look like it's going to be a one-time fight, unless we can just finally just give them zero hope, that they're ever going to get anything passed. So we're going to stay vigilant on it, and we'll keep. If they bring it back up, then we'll let everybody know. So,
right on.
But
all right, everyone. That's it for today's show. Again, if you're in Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, Arkansas, go check out Morris Mountain. Tell them we sent you. I'm sure Randy will appreciate you coming through and riding around in his mountain and acting accordingly.
Absolutely.
Take your shit with you.
Yeah, that's right.
Don't leave your shit floating around the park.
Right. Hey, you guys are more than welcome to come anytime you want. If you don't have anything to wheel, we'll put you in something. I'll let you drive mine. Yeah.
I'm gonna take you up on that.
You're in trouble.
Right. Do I need to put a governor on the throttle right now? Or
yeah. Sorry. Yes. Only first gear works.
Right. Yes. Put some displacement on demand.
Right,
so you only got 4 cylinders on it.
Thanks, Randy, for joining us, and we'll catch you next week. Thanks, everyone.
All right. Thanks.